Workplace health and safety refers to a set of guidelines and standards that were developed through research and experience to protect workers and property from unnecessary hazards and provide a good working environment. Every member of a company has a responsibility to prevent accidents by making the workplace as safe as possible for themselves as well as their co-workers. Safety should be the #1 priority at all times for all employees. Why is it important for all company employees to make safety a priority? Workplace health and safety are so important that laws have been passed in each country to provide standards for companies to follow as they create policies for health and safety practices in their workplace. In the U.S., these standards are determined by the Occupational Safety and Health Act, or OSHA. Companies continue to find ways to improve workplace health and safety. This process often involves all employees through many types of communication. In some cases, improving safety involves studying a process over a period of time. For example, some companies may ask employees to participate in environmental studies regarding use of chemicals. The goal is to ensure that workers are not being exposed to unsafe levels of these chemicals. The employees who agree to participate in these studies are informed of the test results. Employers put safety policies in place to ensure a safe environment for employees, customers, and visitors. People entering a workplace are required to follow these policies for their own safety. If policies are ignored, accidents can happen. Accidents may affect not only the offending person, but also the people around them. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, there were approximately 2.8 million non-fatal on-the-job injuries in the United States during 2014. That year, 4,679 workers lost their lives because of workplace accidents. This equates to more than 13 deaths per day. Workplace accidents result in the loss of thousands of dollars in wages and medical expenses for employees each year. Even worse, workplace accidents result in disabling injuries that prevent people from ever returning to work and can even result in death. Workplace injuries cause an average of 1 day of missed work per incident. This results in millions of hours of lost productivity per year. Workplace accidents cost employers billions of dollars per year in medical expenses, insurance costs, and loss or damage to property. For example, in manufacturing in 2014, there were 125,990 non-fatal workplace accidents, each with an average of 10 8-hour workdays missed. That was 10,079,200 hours of lost productivity per year. If you carry it further and use the average manufacturing labor cost in the U.S. of $34.74 per hour, the cost of lost productivity was $350,151,408. This graph shows the number of non-fatal on-the-job injuries and illnesses from 2003 to 2014. Is the rate of injury and illness increasing or decreasing? Statistics show that the number of workplace injuries has declined almost every year over the last decade. Effective safety policies and safety awareness are making the workplace safer. 2003. 2014. Company safety policies are designed to help employees follow safe behaviors at work. Knowing safe behaviors and unsafe behaviors is very important for everyone. An example of unsafe behavior in the workplace can occur with liquid spills. Imagine you are charged with refilling the lubricant for the machine you work on. As you carry the lubricant to the machine, you drop the bucket. Critical thinking. Lubricant is spilled on the floor. What would happen if the spill were not cleaned up immediately? Waiting to clean up a spill. Another worker was injured after slipping on the spill. Be sure to clean up any spills to prevent accidents. Cleaning up a spill immediately. By cleaning up the spill right away, you prevented an accident. Now imagine you are a dock worker at a chemical plant. You have just finished loading a delivery truck with barrels of chemicals. The driver is in a hurry to get on the road, and you are late for lunch. As the truck begins to pull away from the loading dock, you notice that the back door is not properly latched. Critical thinking. As the truck drives away, the back door swings open, and one of the barrels crashes onto the road. It breaks open, spilling the chemical onto the pavement. What can happen if chemicals are spilled from trucks? Effect of unsafe behavior on the environment. The chemical begins to run toward a nearby drainage pond. It may eventually find its way into the town's water supply. A worker who discovers a large quantity spill such as this should notify their supervisor or team leader immediately so that the proper authorities can be contacted. Use the divider bar to see what the river looked like before the spill. It might take months or years to fully return the river to a clean state. Safe behavior prevents environmental harm. By ensuring that the truck's doors were properly latched, you could have prevented this accident and its effect on the environment. Which of the following is a consequence of not immediately cleaning up a lubricant spill? What has happened to the number of non-fatal on-the-job industries since 2003? Which of the following policies helps to minimize environmental damage in the event of a chemical spill? Which of the following does not contribute to a reduction in non-fatal workplace injuries? The Occupational Safety and Health Administration's mission is to ensure safe and healthful working conditions for working men and women. It does this by establishing and enforcing mandatory workplace safety and health standards, implementing new safety programs, improving existing safety programs, finding innovative ways to deal with workplace safety and health issues, and monitoring job-related injuries, illnesses, and deaths. Why does the government regulate safety in the workplace and the environment? What might happen if there were more or less regulations? OSHA enforces a variety of standards for different work environments. It sets and enforces regulations for every type of industry, ranging from retail and service industries to construction and manufacturing. OSHA requires an employer to maintain medical records and reports of accidents, illness, and injury for all employees. OSHA also requires that employers provide access to these records if an employee requests them. The Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, is a U.S. government agency whose purpose is to protect human health and the environment. The EPA does this by creating and enforcing regulations to meet the environmental standards described in the laws passed by the U.S. Congress. Go to www.epa.gov to explore the EPA. The EPA enforces many regulations that help prevent or clean up pollution in the natural environment. For example, the EPA mandates that some products such as fluorescent bulbs, spray cans, and liquid dyes cannot be placed in a trash compactor and sent to a landfill. The Clean Air Act is a federal law that sets standards to help reduce smog and air pollution. Through this act, the EPA develops and enforces regulations that protect people from exposure to airborne particles that are known to be health hazards. The Clean Air Act requires that large, stationary sources of emissions such as power plants have permits for the particles, also called contaminants, that are released into the air. Limits are set on the amount and types of pollutants that can be emitted. The Clean Water Act is a federal law designed to prevent releases of high amounts of toxic substances into U.S. waterways by making it illegal to discharge pollutants into the water without a permit. Through this act, the EPA develops and enforces regulations that protect you from exposure to waterborne contaminants that are known to be hazardous to your health. The EPA requires companies to inspect their emissions and discharges on a regular basis and maintain documentation of the amount and type of contaminants released. These documents should be stored according to federal, state, local, and company regulations. The EPA may perform environmental tests to ensure companies' adherence to regulations. Companies are required to make these test results available to all employee participants. The National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health, or NIOSH, gathers workplace safety statistics and conducts research to create products and services that prevent work-related illness, injury, and disability. Most notably, NIOSH certifies certain types of personal protective equipment for workplace use. The Emergency Planning and Community Right to Know Act, EPCRA, requires manufacturers to document and report information about the types of chemicals they store, use, release into the environment, or dispose of. EPCRA guidelines also require that communities have an emergency response plan for handling incidents involving hazardous materials. Some states create their own agencies that are responsible for regulating workplace safety. These agencies are charged with creating the same types of regulations as OSHA, and the regulations must be as effective as those created by OSHA. Are charged Everyone within a company is responsible for preventing accidents and minimizing unsafe working conditions, not just a few people such as the safety officer or managers. A safety program can only be successful if the entire company is involved, including top-level management, supervisors, safety officers, and all employees. It is important to create a culture that is safety-focused. Management has a great responsibility for the health and safety of their employees. They are responsible for putting in place safety policies and an organizational structure to carry out these policies to ensure that employees get their jobs done without harm. Management's staff achieves the best results when they set an example to the employees by encouraging suggestions for improvement in safety and taking quick action to correct or improve safety conditions. A key member is the safety officer, whose role is to promote safety throughout the company by ensuring that policies are being followed, effective training is taking place, and the policies are up to date. The safety officer is responsible for conducting investigations of accidents, documenting environmental hazard data, and coordinating emergency response drills. The safety officer should also collect and evaluate suggestions from employees and trainers for changing or improving safety training materials and content. Another key part of a company's safety program is the safety committee. A safety committee is a group of employees and managers that work together to maintain a safe work environment. Safety committees provide a formal structure through which employees can funnel safety concerns and offer suggestions to improve workplace safety. This gives each member a sense of ownership and gives all employees a voice. Working together by discussing issues and making decisions are vital to the success of this work group. Employees are responsible for conducting themselves in a safe manner and remaining alert to dangerous conditions that may arise. What kinds of actions can you think of that would help you have a safer work environment? Be responsible for removing hazards as they appear. Follow all posted warning signs and use all safety devices available. Be aware of possible hazards in your workplace so you can recognize them when they occur. Read your equipment manuals. Know how to operate your machine. Do not rush your work and cut corners on procedures. Report accidents immediately to management, even if it is minor. Engage in routine safety inspections. Employees need to look out for the safety of their fellow employees as well as themselves. They should learn all they can to make the job as safe as possible, which includes completing all orientation and refresher safety training and learning the operation procedures of the equipment they use. They should learn While all employees should receive safety training, employees may need to review policies as part of a refresher or as part of a safety improvement process. One source is the company's employee handbook. The employee handbook contains policies on a wide variety of topics, including safety regulations. Companies generally give the employee handbook to all employees. Why are employee handbooks used by companies? Why do schools have student handbooks? Companies may store their safety policies and regulations in places other than the employee handbook. To find out where your company keeps these documents, ask your safety officer. The safety officer is responsible for storing the company's safety records, such as policies and accident reports, in accordance with federal, state, local, and company guidelines. If the company does not have a safety officer, consult an immediate supervisor or the Human Resources Department for this information. Another good place to find information about safety is the OSHA website. The OSHA website contains a wealth of information regarding regulations and educational e-tools regarding specific topics. The OSHA website can be found at www.osha.gov.